Hello everyone, today we are done with Prelims 2026 and here is the analysis of first impression of this paper, which is GS1. UPSC definitely is known for the surprises and this year is also not exception. UPSC has disrupted many patterns which it was following for the last few years and introduced many new ones. We are going to see how we would have tackled this in exam hall and what can be the possible things due to all these things. Right, let us start this video. So Prelims 2026, definitely the paper was lengthy. I would say very lengthy, because the questions, the framing, the options, everything had a lot of full sentences. There were very few questions which could be done in just 20 or 30 seconds. Many questions were there which needed lot of reading, and that's why the speed was very important factor, speed and grasping both in this paper. There were many objective type of questions as well. So small objective details were asked in many questions, which was making it tough to attempt these questions, right? Then collapsing in exam hall experience. Everybody would remember that 2023 experience where the pattern was changed and students, in spite of having done good preparation, collapsed in exam hall, right? So that may be the scenario with some student if they are fearful of whatever changes UPSC has introduced in this year. But definitely we would have prepared our mind for surprises. If anybody had prepared the mind for surprises, it wouldn't have impacted that much for that student, and that is the mantra for every prelims. Be ready for surprises. Then the mental impact will be less and you can do the doable questions nicely. Second important thing is tiredness. So the paper was so lengthy, so if you go on having that tiredness, you will make silly mistake, and that's why the challenges will be there to make the questions right. Pattern disruption, traditional pattern of polity, economy, geography got disrupted, right? History, modern, they were asking weird question previously also. 2025 they asked decent question, but again in 2026 not weird questions, but very unknown detail kind of, or minute detail kind of questions they asked, just like that Subhash Chandra Bose question or some other questions. Lengthy questions were also there, right? So major pattern disruption for polity, it was giving very simple questions to student and very straightforward questions to student till this year, but definitely some or the other year UPSC was going to disrupt this trend also. Very few questions came from polity, and that was simple and that was doable, most of the questions. But the traditional pattern of polity, like 10 to 15 doable question, if you have polity as your stronghold, you will clear this examination, that kind of thing were not seen. Economy, they had experimented disrupting since last 1 to 3 years, and this year also the trend continued. There were new patterns which were introduced. Ethics questions, so some questions were there, case study kind of questions were there, which were introduced by UPSC, and those were very simple. But of course, whenever students will see such a huge changes in the paper, they will feel very challenging and little bit fearful, and they will feel they might not get the answer, and that's why such a simple questions may also go wrong. Then validity checking questions were so many there, options validity checking, statement validity checking, some little bit different kind of questions were there this year. There is an increase in current affairs questions. So current affair questions were there every year for sure, but what they used to do, they used to ask a static portion of current affair rather than a direct current affair question. So in 2022, 2023, 2024, 25, there were so many current affair related questions, but they used to ask the static part. So this year they have increased the direct current affair questions, like they were directly asking a volcano name, they were directly asking the Impact AI Summit. So direct questions on current affairs were increased this year, right? So the new areas were introduced. So international relation, they were used to ask very normal questions, but this year they asked very complicated questions in international relation. They have also changed the format of international relation questions. They are focusing on treaties and which conventions were signed, and little bit old questions also, right? So this was again a surprise. Then modern and art and culture, ancient medieval. So I saw paper said D and first 20 questions were directly from this only. So at the first impression they were looking tough, but they were doable. Anybody would have reduced them to 50-50, but then choosing the right answer is the task or the art. So they were doable but still not doable kind of thing was there. And if you would have solved it with a very calm and cool mind, you would have got it correct. Most of them got it correct relatively, right? Science was okay, decent. Environment decreased, the number of questions decreased, and the number of the traditional pattern also was not that visible, but decent, right? Then next is, but in spite of all these things, of course it was a doable paper. It's a relative competition. Always remember, if paper is looking tough, it is tough for everyone. If everybody is getting panicked, then your relative competition is decreasing compared to the normal paper, right? So you don't need to lose the hope. You don't need to be in a very panic mode and make the questions wrong. So you should have handled your mental state and done this paper whatever you can, because in relative competition you just need to be little better and clear the cutoff, because this is a qualifying examination. So whether this paper is tough or this paper is easy, it does not matter that much, because it's a relative competition, right? Then the paper was little bit doable, because if you had managed the panic and also the reading and grasping speed, this was a very important factor for this paper. There were many simple questions, I mean absolutely simple questions like 13 to 15, and there were many common sense based logical questions 30 to 35. I will show you the paper and I will tell you which were the common sense and logical questions. But yes, of course their number will not go beyond 50, 55 or 60 depending on the preparation level and areas of strength of the student. And 30 to 40 questions were in a little bit tougher category. But what happens when such a panic is created and when paper looks little tough, those 55-60 questions which are simple and common sense based, our brain will not work in that also, and that is why we can make the silly mistakes in that, and maybe the scores will be little less. That can happen, right? So even if the questions were little bit doable, 55 to 60, by making silly mistakes they will be only 40, and some number of wrong questions may be higher in such a question paper. So silly mistake was also a very, very important criteria to increase your score. Those who are doing very less silly mistake in this paper, they will get higher score. That kind of scenario was there. Now reducing the questions to 50-50 was definitely easy. I will show you in some of the questions. It is so easy, right? But of course choosing the right option is the ultimate way, and that was dependent on your preparation level and how you are handling your mental state in the exam hall. There were many touch me not questions, around 10, straightforward. So whatever is your preparation level, definitely you are not going to do the army numbers, definitely you are not going to do that Boon cinema in the BAFTA, that kind of thing will be definitely neglected. And so the touch me not questions, that means you should not attempt them. These type of questions were little higher in this paper, right, for everyone irrespective of your preparation stage, because so many objective details were asked. So around 10, if they are around 10, definitely your number of attempts should be less. So that is my analysis for this paper. Your number of attempt should be less, because of course it is not possible to attempt such objective questions correctly. So attempting less, like 2023 would have been the right strategy for this paper. And less does not mean that you are attempting only 70-75. Of course you will be thrown out of the competition. Less means you are not attempting more than 90, that's it. You attempt 85, 83, 87, anything around that will be a wise strategy for such a paper, because number of touch me not questions were high, right? So I'll just show you some of the answers and some of the things how I have solved. Again, please remember, I am not discussing the answer or answer key. UPSC is going to upload the answer key. So let us not go into that, because every year, even if you do your best, there will be 5, 6, 7 or maybe 3, 4 minimum questions which will be having a different answer than our analysis and our answers. compared to the UPSC answer key. So not going into that mind game, I am just showing you how we can do it. And I have solved the paper and I have marked all the answers, but definitely I am going to search a little bit for few more things, like how we would have dealt with such a questions, what were the patterns, what were the logics that would have been applied, and then I can upload another video which will help you to understand all these things in detail. Definitely, again, one more very powerful signal by UPSC: tricks won't help you. Logic definitely can help you, common sense can definitely help you, but not the tricks. Tricks if you are doing, then gambling if you are doing, then definitely this paper was not at all made for that, right? So let us see how we would have done. So this, how I would have solved this. So this I solved right now, and I would tell you how. Which of the following pairs of the kings and dynasty in early historical Tamilakam is not correctly matched? Everybody who has done the sincere study will be knowing that Senguttuvan is a Chera. This is correct. Everybody who has done a sincere study will know. So if I know one is right, I am eliminating A and C directly. So I am reducing my probability to B and D. Are you understanding that I am saying that reducing questions to 50-50 was easy in this question, in this paper for most of the questions. Then I am remaining with only 2 and 3, right? Now I am confused what to do. I don't know both the names. Let us suppose I don't know both the names. Udiyan Jeral, Nendu Jevilian, vagara vagara. So Chola Pandya, Chola Pandya, Chola Pandya. I can observe one thing. It is very helpful whenever you are breaking down the term or whenever you are describing the terms, right? Can you see this name is ending with Yan? So Pandyan dynasty. So if I am forced to attempt 50-50 and I don't know the objective details, I will apply all my logics, right? So this is sounding like a Pandyan name for sure. So rather than taking this as incorrect, I will treat is at correct and I will take this as incorrect. I hope all of you understanding what I am doing, right? Okay. So I marked C as correct and I marked 2 as incorrect, right? And then I got B as my correct answer. So this is how you can definitely do all these things, and this is how you are supposed to show courage when you are solving the paper, right? Then I will show you simple questions that would have been right with the common sense, right? See this question, this 8 number of question, community wala. This is normal static questions, right? This question. Then you have again this, see this question, right? Let us suppose you don't know anything in this. What is this question? Artificially fixed rupee sterling exchange rate prescribed by Hilton Young Commission was adopted by British government, right? Which of the following was the reason? So I definitely don't know. In my traditional sources I have not read it like that, but if I read the option without panicking, if I read the option, so options are like providing support to Indian imports. Why Britishers will do this? Britishers will never ever do this. Second is encouraging the exports of cotton produce. Britishers will not do this. Preventing depreciation of rupee in the terms of gold. So compared to all these things, is my option A sounding like logical and something which British will take care of, right? Aiding the flow of remittances from India and maintaining India's credit worthiness. Are you understanding? So maybe you have not read this in your traditional sources, but when you are faced to attempt this, you are supposed to go by all hooks and crooks and common sense and logic, and then you will be able to attempt this question. There are so many such questions. Okay, so this is, I am showing you all the common sense based, logic based questions in this. Next is your, see this question. So let us suppose this is looking very tough. Haile Selassie painting in the Bagh cave, right? Now I don't even know what is this painting. Literally I don't even know. Okay, but I know Bagh cave is dominated by Buddhist paintings, secular paintings. Bagh cave is famous for this. This everybody who is doing sincere study will know. Now I am seeing the option: a joyous folk dance, Buddha in the meditative pose, the depiction of Shiva and Parvati in Kailasha, Samudra Manthan, right? Definitely these two things are related to other religion, not Buddhism. So these are not the answers. So I am reducing this to A and D. That means 50-50. So even if questions are looking tough, reducing them to 50-50 was a very good thing in this, right? Now this is the pattern which UPSC has introduced, right? So they are giving you two sentences and they are asking about the statements associated with which of the following: emergence of urban life, of transition of money economy, right? So this is a new pattern which UPSC has introduced, but it is okay, like it is not that very tough wala thing. These were like touch me not questions. So this is like touch me not questions, and most of the questions of touch me not were there in the last few questions of the set D. So I'll show you that these type of questions are like touch me not questions. See this. See this. Question number 98 in set D, which one of the following is not correctly matched. So Indian Army Corps and Headquarters. Most of the students, 90% of the students not knowing all these things. Those who are related from army background, they will be knowing this. This is a highly objective question. So I will leave this in exam hall. This is like a touch me not question for me. Next is like this. See this. So UN peacekeeping operation, definitely I don't know who will study all these things, right? Those who are with PSI are optional, or those who are having touch with the UN peacekeeping operations, they only know this. This is a highly objective thing. I will leave this in the actual exam hall. So these are the touch me not questions. I hope you have left it if you are not having any idea, right? Okay. So apart from this, now I will tell you few of the questions where, yes, simple and logical based questions I was telling you, right? So question number 18 was simple, question number 19 was simple, question number 20 is also very simple, right? Question number 23 simple, 24 simple. Question number 22 was a very normal current affairs based question. If you had done current affairs, it is very normal. Question number 25 looking very lengthy but very simple question, right? Then 26 is like a touch me not question. So there are so many simple questions. For example, like this question number 31, even if it is looking like very little bit different question, if you read it calmly and coolly, it is a very normal question where you don't need knowledge, and you will be able to solve this. Mapping questions were also okay, right? So Lake Turkana, everybody knows it is not in Sudan, it is in Kenya border, Kenya type of region, right? And then if you make the lake is situated in South Sudan wrong, then option 2 is wrong. So means C is wrong, D is wrong, you are reducing it to A and B, right? Then it is the largest, one is common, so one is right only, you don't need to think about it. It is the largest desert lake in the world. Now you are only focusing on only focusing on statement 3. The lake is listed by this, but you will not leave this question, you will attempt it by anyhow. You will try to understand and you will try to see how it is, based on your preparation level, you will be knowing it. Now this is a very doable question. Huluk Gibbon, right? So it is like a sanctuary of Northeast India is created. This Holunga Par Gibbon Sanctuary. This is a current affairs. So anybody who has done past 1-2 years of current affairs, they will be able to know this, right? And then they have special brachiation and easily swing between the trees. Picture method work like in an environment like anything. If you have seen the pictures of Western Huluk gibbons, you will know that they do not have that strong body. They have a very slender and light body. So third is wrong. So C is wrong, D is wrong, and you are left with 1 and 2. So 1 is right only, and 2 is like, this is a normal characteristics and feature of many gibbons, and it is a common sense thing that you will be knowing this, right? 34 was also, you will feel that Vizhingham International, no, this is a little bit different question, right? 35 was straightforward, 33 was very simple and straightforward. Okay? So in tough paper, what is your role? In tough paper, you are supposed to look for those very easy questions which you will make right with the help of your common sense, and don't panic for the tougher questions. This was the thing. Okay, I have marked all the answers, but definitely I will cross check once and I will explain all of you the logics and everything in another video. So this is a normal observation that I have done for this paper. Definitely the attempt will be less for the student. The attempt should be less for the student and cutoff will be little less, is my first impression of this paper, right? And whatever things I wanted to explain you, I have explained. So I hope all of you got the first insights into the paper, and let us meet into the next video where I will be explaining things in little bit detail. Thank you so much. I hope all of you have done your best job and you will clear this examination with flying colors, because it's a relative competition. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.